and gentlemen, welcome back to the Feeling Over Facts podcast. It's that time again. It's your boy DJ, it's your boy Zach. We back. Zach, how we feeling?
Feeling great. We are back once again with episode 19. Here to talk about what happened in the world of sports this past week. A lot went on, DJ.
Mainly football.
Of course. Why would we talk about any other sport?
Well, any other sport is not at its apex as it is right now for football, which is where we're at right now, and you gotta love it as a sports fan.
It's true. I'm all about it, man. Got the footy on Saturday morning with some Premier League. Then it feeds right into college football on Saturdays. Then wake up the next morning.
The same thing.
On Sunday,
rinse and repeat.
We have NFL all day. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And then, we got great days like today where we have Champions League football on. Mm-hmm. And Arsenal win 4-0.
It was a good win for them.
It was a good win.
It was a great win.
Speaking of football, let's talk about week 2 in the greatest professional American league, I would say, is the NFL. Week 2 just occurred. Zach, how did you feel about week 2?
Week 2 was a fun week. Week 1, we saw a lot of games that were very low scoring. I think that NFL unders week 1 were two. There was 2 games, I think, in week 1 that hit the over. It was very low scoring, a lot of ugly games. And we saw in week 2, these offenses kind of settled in. These younger players on offenses, they got used to the NFL speed a little bit more. And we saw a lot more points, a lot more higher scoring games, a lot of more offensive production. And week 2 was a lot of fun. Some of my biggest takeaways from week 2. I mean, I gotta start it off with my Colts takeaways, of course. Anthony Richardson is now 0 for 2 on finishing NFL football games.
But he's 1-1 though. Positives.
It's true, but he has yet to finish an NFL game, and that's got to count for something. You got to be able to play the entire game in this league as a starting quarterback. And he is being widely successful running the ball. 2 rushing touchdowns, back-to-back drives. He was off to a great start. And then he gets a concussion and knocked out again. I think that there's a reason that we see a lot of great young running quarterbacks, but we don't really ever see any old great running quarterbacks. That's because they get knocked out of the league too quickly. So I think Anthony Richardson is a great weapon with his running ability, but he's got to learn that his body in this league is an asset, and he's got to protect it. And right now he is being reckless, and he's not being able to finish games. Luckily, they got a good head start on a bad team in the Texans, and were able to come away with the victory. But that was a big takeaway from me, especially from my Colts, was Anthony Richardson's got to protect himself a little bit more. He's got to be able to finish games.
Fair enough. Transitioning to a division rival of your Colts, my Tennessee Titans. Talking about them for a minute, I'll be honest. After the first game in the first quarter of this game, I was in my feelings. Like, I was just like, is this what this season's going to be like? Am I going to really have to torture myself watching all 17 games this year like this, expecting nothing but pain and suffering? But fortunately, we pulled it out in overtime. We played a way better second, third, and fourth quarter, mainly offensively, I will say. I say it's kind of hard to stop the Chargers' offense, but I feel like our defense came up with big stops when we needed them to. Ryan Tannehill kind of started finally playing like the Ryan Tannehill that we know and love. Some people don't love him, but I do. Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry things. He had like 80 yards. We didn't even get over 100. We, aired it out a couple times on some big plays to Traylon Burks and Chris Moore, of all people. And, Nick Folk folk around and find out.
Yeah,
It's what happens. So it's nice to have a kicker that actually has kicked successfully and consistently. We haven't had
he's
that in
doing
a couple
well
of
so
last
far.
years. He is, and it's been worth the 7th-round pick as of right now. So,
Definitely.
but looking around the rest of the league, we had some pretty big injuries. This or one big and massive injury this year or this Monday night with Nick Chubb out for the season. His leg got
Yep.
literally destroyed. I've seen some stuff online that there's some medical experts that saying that this could be career ending. I don't know about that, and I don't really trust the validity of it because I didn't see the sources. But
I mean,
it
this
does
was a
not look
knee that
good.
he had already had a injury and a surgery on, and then this injury, if you watched the video of it, looked pretty horrendous. The way that it happened. So them saying that career ending is within the range of possibilities probably isn't too far off. But I really sure hope not, because he is one of my favorite running backs to watch. He is one of the best running backs in the NFL. I mean, if you look at the stats, he's statistically the top. In the last 5 years, he's a top 3 running back without a doubt. So would hate for this to end his career. I hope he can bounce back. But yeah, that was a tough injury.
So I have a question about said injury. Do you think the hit that broke his this just destroyed his knee? I wouldn't say broke his knee, destroyed his knee. Do you think that was a dirty hit? Or do you think
I
it's
wouldn't.
football?
I wouldn't say it was dirty. I think it's football. I mean, when any injury or play like that where somebody hits someone directly in the side of the knee like that in slow mo, it's gonna look really bad because they're diving at them and they're hitting them in their knee. But the things are happening so fast in the NFL, the play is developing so quickly that guys really aren't processing oh, I'm gonna dive right here and it's gonna hit him in the knee and it's gonna hurt him. I wouldn't say that was dirty per se. Not as dirty as a receiver is coming over the middle and the safety's coming down and can clearly see that the ball's uncatchable and they still just clobber him right in the head. I would say that's more of a processed dirty play than what we saw with this one.
I wonder what dirty play you're talking about.
Yeah.
We had some amazing comebacks. One really hurt my soul. We'll talk about it later. But the Giants coming back on the Cardinals and the Packers letting the Falcons come back on them. Some entertaining football. Oh, and also I almost forgot the Commanders coming back on the Broncos. Some big time comebacks, big down deficits, multiple touchdowns, and coming back and winning. It's very impressive.
The Giants, I think, saved their season with that second half. Daniel Jones played incredible, and I don't think it's out there to say that second half saved their season. To lose 40-0 in week 1 and then lose week 2 to probably the worst team in the NFL, it would be hard for them to rebound from that. So
we'll say the worst roster in the NFL. Worst roster, at least. Because we don't know
what worst roster.
Record-wise, I mean, based on how they've played, they've been in every game they've played in. So, I can't say that their team altogether is bad, in fact, because of what we see on the field. But yes, record-wise, possibly, yes, near the end of the season, we could say this is bad, the worst team in the NFL. But I'll just say worst roster. I think that's an easier way to say it.
Yeah, that's true. And they are one of the 0-2 teams. So, DJ, we have a few 0-2 teams at the moment. We are currently looking at 0-2 teams: New England Patriots, Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans, LA Chargers, Denver Broncos, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, Carolina Panthers, and then the Arizona Cardinals. Those are our 0-2 teams at the current moment in the standings.
I'll say, I mean, I think it's obvious to say which ones are the surprising ones. It'd be the Chargers and the Bengals. I think are the two biggest surprises so far. Those rosters are easily what I would call, if not close to saying that they are probably the best two or better two rosters with 2 losses. They both should probably be playoff teams, but rough start to the season. The Chargers, they played a very good offensive Dolphins team, ended up losing in a shootout. You can't really, say too much about that. And then they ran into the Titans without their best running back, Austin Eckler being out. I do think that did have a had an effect on it, because I do think that the Chargers with Eckler probably do beat the Titans. Honestly, I do believe that.
He is a big part of their offense, so not having him was definitely seen. For sure.
The Patriots losing to is interesting because they were in both games. I think they're probably better than an 0-2 team. And I do think that this defense is very good. But like I said, the Dolphins' offense is looking really good. Really good. One of the best offenses in the league right now. So whoever they go up against, it's going to be entertaining. I will say that block kick by the Patriots was crazy. That was awesome.
Yeah, I was saying that during the game. I was like, I don't see why more people don't do this. Like the arena football style run up right as they're about to snap it, and you get the momentum going across and you block it. I don't see why more people don't do that. I guess it's hard to time, but I mean, that dude did it perfectly.
I mean, just wait for Bill Belichick to pull out something that we haven't seen in the NFL much, but it was beautiful. It was probably the prettiest block kick I've ever seen in my life. And I don't say that because it's not, I wouldn't say like it's ever like a pretty play, but like that was just gorgeous. I was like, oh my God, holy crap.
It was perfect.
The rest of the 0-2 teams, I will say, though, probably maybe the Broncos is a little bit surprising because I think people had a lot of hope for the Broncos, but the rest of them, I would say, probably justified.
People might be surprised by the Vikings being 0-2. Obviously not me. As I said, I think that they were going to come in last in the division, so looking off to a good start on me on that.
You want to talk about your Bears take real quick?
Bears potentially looking like not good. Not looking like I think I had them finishing second in the division, I'm pretty sure. They are 0-2 and they've looked Justin Fields has looked horrible. My dark horse MVP candidate is looking like just like this is one of those takes where I talk about where I'm just horrendously wrong. This is looking like it's going to be one of those.
I mean, I said that my dark horse MVP race player was Kenny Pickett, and the week one he looked awful. So like I can't say anything either. Yeah. Sometimes we put our takes out there on the line, and sometimes they come back and we get nothing. Like it's just it is what it is.
This is how it goes sometimes. One of the more surprising things to me, I thought the NFC South was going to be one of the worst divisions in football. But currently they have 3 teams that are undefeated after 2 weeks. We got the Falcons, Saints, and Buccaneers. Buccaneers are undefeated right now, DJ.
Do you think it's a Baker resurgence, or do you just think it's their team around them is still a solid
Baker
squad?
Magic. I wouldn't say it's a resurgence. I think that they had a good squad around him. I think if anybody was coming into the season low on the Buccaneers, it wasn't because the roster was just absolutely terrible. I think that they were just low on Baker Mayfield, and he's been kind of like what I said he would be. He's being serviceable enough where he's not losing them games, and this roster is pretty decent where they've won their first 2 games, and they've looked good. And I mean, Mike Evans has been fantastic, as he always is. So they're winning games at the current moment. Here in week 3, though, they have a good test, so we'll really be able to see if Baker can hold up here in week 3 against maybe the best team in the NFL.
Definitely one of them. I was one of those people who's down on Baker, mainly because I didn't know if he's going to be able to take care of the football. Personally, that was a thing I was worried about looking outside in at that roster. But looking at the entire AFC NFC South as a whole, the Falcons go to Detroit, the Saints go to Green Bay, and like you said, Philly goes to Tampa in a doubleheader Monday night game again, which I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's funny. The other game on Monday night is an interesting one too, because who wants to watch the Rams Bengals? This Bengals team so far has not been great, so
especially if they're thinking about potentially sitting out Joe Burrow, letting him get fully healed, because
I also saw that
the talk of the Bengals squad is Joe Burrow was coming to the season not fully healed, and that's why he hasn't been doing as good. So they could potentially sit him down. So that one could be a real snoozer.
I also saw that there's a report after this week 2 game against the Ravens, that he re-aggravated it. So that might be another thing. If he re-aggravated it may be just smart for him to try and, get as healthy as possible for later on in the season. The Bengals are always one of those teams that kind of starts off super slow, I feel like. So
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see if and when they can come back from this, because I do think that they have the talent to do so. That's unquestionable in my opinion. They're a playoff team roster.
for sure.
So,
Definitely. Yeah, no
but
doubt. DJ,
yes,
it's not often that we get some breaking news while we are live, but we have just received some breaking news in the world of the NFL. Los Angeles Rams running back Cam Akers has been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Just happened just now.
I see that. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I guess they're really tired of Alexander Mason. They're just like, you know
I
what? He's
mean,
not it. They have the pass game. Like, give as much crap as you want to Kirk Cousins. He is putting up the stats. He's getting it to his receivers. I mean, Justin Jefferson's Justin Jefferson, but I mean, like KJ Osborne's solid third or second option, and you still have the rookie Jordan Addison, who I think's looked pretty solid too. So I
yeah.
mean, and then you have Hawkinson. Like Hawkinson's a very good tight end. He had a great fantasy week last week. Honestly, great fantasy week. Garbage time touchdown, second touchdown in the game. You can't ask for anything better. But I mean,
He's
like they do
prime
need the run
garbage
game.
time touchdown.
Madison is not doing it right now. He's not it. He's not him. Cam Akers has looked very good, but I am kind of shocked that the Rams are letting him go. I think that he has looked really good. Now, who's the Ram?
Kyron Williams is their starting running back now. He looked really good in their last game. I think he
He did.
had close to like 20 carries or something. Like they really believe in him. So guess they finally decided that they wanted to part ways with Cam Akers. I think it's saying that they're getting a conditional,
It says pick swap.
a pick swap in 2026. So a pick swap in 2020 in 3 years. So basically they're just saying, hey, we don't really want him anymore. If you want him, he's yours. And the Vikings were like, yeah, sure. We can always have more running back depth.
So to be honest, though, Cam Akers didn't even get a snap. He didn't even have a rush last game. It was all Kyron Williams. So
nope. Yeah, he did not play at all.
Did he play week 1 though? I thought he did.
He did. Yeah, he played week 1. He didn't really do much. Then I think I don't even know if he dressed out last game. He may have been a healthy scratch, and then they traded him. So
I feel like last year there's a rift between him and McVay anyway. So I feel like this kind of confirms that in general.
yeah,
So I'm not too surprised, I guess. But of all teams of Vikings, I get it because of what Madison has done so far. I think that they expected him to have a little bit more of a like a better carryover from Dalvin Cook, or dropping Dalvin Cook, saving some money on that, and kind of retooling. I wouldn't say rebuild, retooling their team, because I don't know if you can ever call it a rebuild when you have Justin Jefferson on your roster.
this is true. He is incredible.
He is. I mean, man, literally is. He's definitely top 2, top 3 receivers for me right now in the league, easily, without
100%.
discussion. So
yeah.
All right, so transitioning, we haven't talked too much about this, but we are going to get into some college football. Finally. So, Zachary, answer me this: what is the biggest topic in college football right now?
Well, I would argue it's the biggest topic in all sports at the moment, and that is Deion Sanders and their Colorado Fighting Buffaloes.
This is true. You have answered correctly. You'll get a prize at the end of the show.
Yay!
So, Colorado. People, bringing him up. It's a great conversation, great story. I'm loving what Coach Prime's doing. He's a lot of fun. I think he's doing a great job in Colorado. I think he's got these guys really invested, because I think he shows that he actually gives a crap about these kids on and off the field, which is, I feel like sometimes gets lost in college football nowadays, college sports maybe, because, you're so focused on winning. And right now, what can you go instant gratification for fans and maybe even coaches sometimes, and players, everybody, transfer portals kind of made that to where, like, oh, I'm not playing here, I'll go somewhere else and play because I deserve this much playing time. But as of right now, this season, Zach, do you think Colorado is a national title contender?
Well, No, I do not. I think that they're a great story. They're the best story right now. They'll be the top story in sports until they lose, which could be this weekend, as they are a 3-touchdown underdog against Oregon. So at least Vegas thinks that they should lose this weekend. But if they win again this weekend, we are set up for maybe the most watched college football regular season game in a long time, with USC versus Coach Prime, with Caleb Williams, Heisman frontrunner,
Shador
and
Sanders. That's
Shador
a great.
Sanders, who's also in the race. Those two facing off. If Colorado can beat Oregon and be undefeated going into that game, we're going to see just historic viewership for a college football game. But that being said, I don't think that Colorado is a true national title contender. I think they're a great story. They're projected to win 3 games coming into this season, and they obviously have already won 3 games in their first 3 weeks. So they're blowing all of the expectations for their team out of the water, and it's becoming extremely evident that Deion is a great coach and that Shador is going to be an NFL quarterback. But I don't truly think that they have the talent to contend with some of the big dogs in the college football national title race. So I would have to go with no, would be my answer for that.
So I agree with you. I think that this team offensively, I think they are there. I think offensively they have the talent, they have the tools, they have the weapons, they have whatever you want to call it to get to that level. They have the court. I think Shador Sanders is just looking insane. He's so accurate. He makes the right decisions most of the time. He struggled a little bit against Colorado State, but he turned it around. They stopped giving as much pressure. He didn't deal with the pressure great in the beginning of the game. I will say that, but he turned it around like great quarterbacks have to sometimes. He adjusted mid game and he came out firing and helped them win that game. The part of the team that I am very worried about, and I think that I think next year will be their chance to go for it, because I think, Shador will come back. I think that Travis Hunter will be back next year because he's only a sophomore. They'll have most of their weapons back from this year that are showing out now, with another year of development, chemistry, Coach Prime getting his guys in, getting recruits, getting anybody else who wants to transfer, because we already know that they have gotten, they've already reported, they've gotten a bunch of calls from recruits, from transfers, people wanting to go play for Coach Prime in Boulder. This team, sure, I think, is a year away. 1 year or 2 years away from being a legitimate national title contender. And the only reason why I don't say they are this year is because that defense is a little weak. It's nothing. It's not me being super negative or being a hater.
40 points a game, though, offensively.
Exactly, but can you outdo Caleb Williams? Can you go up against teams that actually do have a good defense and maybe actually slap you in the face? The Colorado State game kind of showed me that their defense is not there yet. The game against TCU showed me that their defense isn't there yet. You had to absolutely scratch and claw there at the end of the game in a absolute just shootout, because no one was stopping the other team's offense. That's basically what happened. So, credit to their offense. Their offense is great. But I want to talk about how their defense is a little lacking. And I think that Deion can get them there after this year, because he's going to bring in I heard him talk on the broadcast. I think it was Louis Riddick who was on the broadcast. He was talking about how their D-line kind of gets pushed off the ball a little bit too easily. I agree with that. I think it's going to take 1 year for him to get whoever he wants. He's basically going to have his pick of the litter. If you want to go play for Coach Prime and you are a dog on that D-line, he's looking for you, I think, right now. So I think they're a year away. Year away from Colorado being a legitimate national title contender. Do not get me wrong. I'm on the hype train for the Colorado Buffaloes. I am here. I'm a Bama fan, but I really pull for Colorado to do well, because I love Coach Prime. I love what he's doing. Love it. So, speaking of Shador's
program so quickly.
He has. Speaking of Shador Sanders, and speaking of Caleb Williams, in your eyes, Zach, who are your Heisman frontrunners?
Frontrunner?
This is just your opinion.
Who do I think has a good chance to win it?
Take it to whatever way you want to.
My frontrunner right now is Caleb Williams. He is clearly the best quarterback in the nation. clearly going to be the number one pick in the draft. But I think that there are a couple picks that you could say have a chance to win it other than him. One we just talked about, which is Shedeur Sanders. I think that the Heisman Trophy award a lot of times is kind of a hype award. It's not just the player that has the best stats or does the best, and Shedeur's putting up amazing stats, but it's also the hype award. If Colorado can find a way to beat Oregon, to beat USC, to make it through the season with, I don't know, 9-3, 10-2, something like that, Shedeur is very live to win this MVP, to win the Heisman. And another one that I think would be a good shout would be Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that he is an absolutely elite talent, and this goes along with my kind of it's a little bit of a media award sometimes, and I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to put up absolutely ridiculous numbers the rest of the season, and he is most likely going to be the second or third pick in the NFL draft next year. And Ohio State's not losing anytime soon, at least until they play Penn State, I think. That's
or Notre Dame this weekend.
I think they'll run through Notre Dame. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really think
going to South Bend at night. It's not going to be an easy game. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
It's a test. Let's just say that
it is a test. Yep, they're probably their first.
For once,
test.
Before they play Penn State or Michigan, they actually have a test of a game. Ohio State's schedule is absolute crap most of the time.
It'll be a test, but I'm expecting a big Marvin Harrison Jr. game, and I think that he's going to be shooting up there near the top of the odds for Heisman, and he's my second player that I think has potential to win it. How about you?
So I also agree with the Shedeur Sanders discussion. I think that if you said it's a popularity contest kind of thing, or a media contest, like who's got the biggest media attention, I think a lot of it has to do with also record and national prominence too, in that aspect. Because I agree with the whole popularity. You have to kind of be either undefeated or like a 1 or 2 loss. You have to be in the playoff discussion. So the reason why I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is a outright front guy is because I think that they lead. I probably have them losing two or three games, and they're going to be close. Because if they stay undefeated, I think he wins it hands down. Because I think Heisman. I think the Heisman committee does not like to try and have multiple time winners. It's only happened once. Archie Griffin back at Ohio State. They've had opportunities to give it to guys multiple times, and they never do.
Yeah,
it seems like. But that's also based on voting, so maybe voters are just like that. Like, oh no, he's already won it, so let's give it to this guy. I mean, let's look at in the past history. You had Tebow, you had Lamar. I'm sure I'm forgetting Matt Leinart. He was there twice. Manziel. Like they've had people who have been in that discussion multiple times to try and win it multiple times. I mean, I think Herschel Walker was up for it like 3 times in 3 years in a row, and he only won it once.
Reggie Bush.
But that's I think Reggie Bush was he there 2 years or 1 year? I can't remember.
I think he was there twice.
Okay. That was whenever we were really little, so like I paid attention to it, but I didn't like follow it as well. So fair enough. But I mean, looking at Shedeur Sanders, he's got over, he's almost at 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. Guys just absolutely lighting it up. Now, my actual front runner, who I think has a very good chance to compete for a Heisman, he's playing lights out. That is Michael Penix Jr. at Washington. Guy's got over 1,300 yards. He's got 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. Washington's looking really dangerous right now. Their offense is just on an elite level as well. It's weird how much relevancy there is coming out of the Pac-12 this year. Ironically, because the Pac-12 is about to not exist really after the season.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't really have to they don't have a test until Oregon in October, like mid-October. So this team, if they just keep up putting up points and they stay undefeated, because they have to play Oregon, who's ranked at the moment. They have to play USC at USC. If they go to USC and beat them and they're still undefeated, I think you might need to give the Heisman to Michael Penix Jr. Then they got to play Utah, Oregon State, and Washington State. All are ranked. Now, will they stay ranked? That is a big question. Probably not, but good teams at the moment. So I have Michael Penix Jr. he is lighting it up. And that one year, I think it was a COVID year, or maybe the year after the COVID year. Yeah, it was the year after COVID year, where when he was at Indiana, he was just lighting it up. Indiana was basically he carried Indiana to being prominent in the college football ranks, and they haven't been ever since he left. So,
right,
he's a baller. I think he's got some pro aspects in him. I'm interested to see how he does the rest of the season. But as of right now, he's fighting for that number one spot with Caleb Williams in my eyes, because he's actually played against some teams, not great teams, but some teams better than what USC's played against so far. So
for sure, he's certainly got a chance. He's been putting up some unreal numbers.
So going into week 4, the college football season, Zach, who are the best teams in your opinion? And I have a hot take on this one, so I'll let you go first. But I have a take on this. It might be.
I'll give my best team right now. And I don't know. You can tell me if this is a hot take or not, but I really, really like this Penn State team. They do exactly what you need to win a national championship in college. And they kind of are following the Georgia model. They play exceptional defense first, and then they have a two-headed running back attack that is the best in college football. Their two running backs, I should have studied their name a little bit more before coming into this podcast, but I've watched them play several times, and they are absolute dogs. They have two that are both incredible. And I think that I've seen that formula several times in college football, where we have a team who plays great defense and they run the ball like maniacs. And that's what Penn State does. And they're extremely well coached, and RIP James Franklin for Vanderbilt. And they are extremely well disciplined. And I think that I really like this Penn State team a lot. I think that in my eyes are the best team in the country.
Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. These are names.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, those guys are dogs.
The only thing that I don't like about this Penn State team is their quarterback plays not been good this year. Not at all, in my opinion. They have been kind of mid at the quarterback position, but they had a quarterback there that felt like he was there for like 7 years. And
but I mean, how often in college football do we really see the most talented quarterback win the national championship? It doesn't happen a lot. It's not as important in college football as it is in the NFL. And I think that he's a serviceable quarterback.
I beg to differ.
What do you mean?
I think that quarterback is very important, because if you want to look at some of the teams that are struggling this year, let's look at.
It wasn't important.
You just said that it was not important. It's not as important as the NFL, but I think it is
as important as it is in the NFL. I think it's important too.
I don't know. I don't like, if we're talking about just teams that look like who I think is the best teams as of right now. Like, Georgia doesn't even look that great to me. Like, defensively they're all right, but like they offensively are just stagnant.
They were looking like they were going to get upset by Spencer Rattler there for a second.
They did. Michigan hadn't played jack anybody.
No.
Texas almost lost to Wyoming until the fourth quarter when they woke up.
Yeah.
Florida State struggled with BC. USC hadn't played anybody. Ohio State hadn't played anybody, and even if they did, their quarterback doesn't look great either. Penn State's looked all right. I'll give you that, but like, I'm not going to say that I don't feel great about it. Washington's got a good quarterback, but like, can their defense stop the cold? Probably not. Like, they're just not great. Notre Dame, great quarterback. I like Hartman a lot. That's why I think they have a chance against Ohio State. But we'll see. I don't know if I like the rest of their team. I mean, I could go. Honestly, here's my hot take. I don't think there's a front dog this year. I think it's super close. And honestly, I'd say the college football this year, at like the whole college football scene is kind of having a down year this year, because I don't really see any big dog this year coming out as a team. No, there's some good players. Don't get me. There's always going to be some good players, but I wouldn't say that there's just that one team that's going to be like, that's them. Like Georgia last year, I think everybody knew how good Georgia was.
Yeah.
Alabama going into last year, you had Bryce Young. Bryce Young is great, but like, look at Alabama now. We don't have a quarterback, so we're not even that big of a threat.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't love the landscape of college football. Meaning, like, not saying I don't want to watch college football. That's not what I'm saying. It's more of I don't have a favorite. Like, you can say Penn State. Me, I don't have a favorite. I think that it's going to come down to the very end of the season. We're probably going to have 2 or 3 one-loss teams in the playoffs because I don't think there's going to be that many undefeated teams, maybe. That's a hot take. That's just my opinion, though, because I don't see any big front runner. Like, in what world should Michigan be number 2? Because what they did last year, they haven't played anybody. They played Eastern Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Who are they playing this week? Rutgers. Who are they playing after that? Nebraska.
All of the undefeated teams in the top like 7 or 8 can probably be interchangeable. Those just are based off of preseason rankings. Like, people just kind of judge the team based on the talent they think they have, and they make a ranking, and then it won't really change until teams lose. So the top like 7 or 8 can probably be like any of those teams could be within number 1.
Let's also talk about this, how much the top 25 rankings now means nothing because it's not the college football rankings. So, like, literally it's just there to put a number in front of people, but not until November is when it's going to matter. Like, I don't give a crap about the rankings. It's just something to talk about nowadays. But, like, if we're talking about, like, it mainly it kind of highlights, oh, hey, this is a good big, like, this could be a big matchup. Michigan's next, like, their hardest opponent, in my opinion, isn't until November 11th. They play Penn State. Then after that, they have a week against they play Maryland. Then they have Ohio State. That's the last 3 games of their season. They don't play anybody the rest of the year.
That is a tough end, but they don't. They'll be undefeated until that point.
Yeah, like, based on how the Pac-12 is this year, if we're looking into next year, I'm sure their schedule will be a lot harder because they've had USC, who's undefeated, Oregon, who's undefeated, Washington, who's undefeated. Like, I'm not saying it would be great games because there's no defense in the Pac-12, but it'd be a lot better matchups than what it is right now in the Big Ten, because the Big Ten is dog water.
Yeah,
it just is.
True.
It's weird, but as of right now, the most competitive conference is either the SEC or the Pac-12. That's weird to say.
Yeah. I mean, not on the SEC's part, but definitely the Pac-12.
Yes, it is very exactly right. So, alrighty, college football talk over.
Whoop, whoop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're into bets of the week, and I am so honored to say that last week, your boys Zach and DJ went a solid 6-0.
6-0, baby.
So what we're saying is we either need to buy a lottery ticket or you need to just listen to us.
They don't call this the most profitable segment in all of sports talk for nothing.
They don't, because we just said it.
There you go.
First time ever. So, bets of the week. Zach, do you want me to go first, or do you want to spill the info, the insider info?
I think I went first last week, and it worked out for us, so I guess I'll go first again.
Okay.
All right. This one is... We'll count this against our record, but if it doesn't hit, it's not, like, crazy, because this one I'm giving out is a plus 550 underdog.
My God.
And we don't normally give out soccer bets on our bets of the week. We've done strictly football.
You can do whatever you want, sir.
I have a sneaky suspicion we are going to see a West Ham victory against Liverpool this weekend. Plus 550. Liverpool's defense has looked extremely shaky throughout the entirety of the season thus far. West Ham's attack has been very solid. I really like this West Ham team to go into Anfield and pull out the underdog victory. Plus 550, West Ham. My next two are more realistic, even though I feel like that one's pretty realistic. 49ers, minus 10 against the Giants tomorrow night. Nick, his brother, Nick Bosa, is going to throw Daniel Jones through the center of the earth. Like, this Giants offensive line through the first 2 games has been atrocious. It almost lost them the game against who I think is the worst team in the NFL, in the Arizona Cardinals. And I think that the 49ers are going to absolutely steamroll the Giants. So minus 10, just a touchdown and a field goal, I think is very attainable. I like that a lot. And then my last pick is a team that I really just can't see going 0-3. And that's the Los Angeles Chargers. It is it's minus 1. It's basically a pick 'em. So I'm just going to say the money line. Chargers money line against the Vikings. I think that I can't see a world where they go 0-3. I think Justin Herbert's too good of a quarterback. This defense is still solid. And the Chargers are a better road team than they are a home team a lot of times. So I'm going Chargers money line against the Vikings. That is my 3 picks.
Solid. I don't mind those. Feel really good about the last 2. I don't know about the first one. But you know what? Sometimes you got to go
shoot your shot.
You got to shoot your shot because shooters shoot. All right. So my bets of the week. Last time I did this, it worked, but it also hurt my soul because it was betting against Alabama. But I'm doing it again because I don't feel great about this Alabama team. I'm doing +7 against for Ole Miss against Alabama. I feel like that's not a
quick question, DJ. Who are they rolling out there at quarterback this game?
It's Milroe.
They're going to put him back out there after benching him? Oh, they already said they are?
Yeah, they're all right. So here's the thing. This is my take on it. I think that Nick Saban already planned this out because he wanted to know what he had at running at quarterback. I think he knew that we were going to win last week altogether, but he wanted to see what we had at the other quarterback positions. So regardless of what the score was, regardless of what was going to happen, he had a very good feeling that we're going to beat USF no matter how bad we looked. He didn't care. He knew our defense would be able to stop them whenever they're doing, which basically happened. They only gave up 3 points. The only reason why they had the field goal probably is because Kool-Aid McKinstry did one of the dumbest things as a returner and got in the way or tried to field a punt when he didn't need to and hit his leg. They fumbled it. We got him 3 and out. They kicked the field goal. They were in field goal range already, so we kind of helped them out on that one too. So Saban wanted to see what he had at quarterback. That's why he didn't throw Milroe in the game at all. Milroe comes back. Unfortunately, I think he's the best option we have at quarterback. And
I don't think he's that good.
I don't feel great about it because I do think that Ole Miss can put up points. I don't like their defense though, but I don't trust Milroe to take care of the ball enough for us to win. So I definitely could see Ole Miss upsetting Alabama this week. But also, if not upset, it's going to be close anyway. So I feel really good about that. My second bet. This team upset an SEC team last week, and they're +8.5 underdogs against Kansas. And that would be the BYU Cougars. So I'm going BYU +8.5 against Kansas. I don't know why.
I like it.
I don't know why they're such a big underdog. I think Arkansas is not a bad team. They have a good quarterback for college ranks. KJ Jefferson. I don't know about the rest of their team. I haven't really seen a lot of Arkansas games. But I don't think Kansas is that good of a football team this year. I haven't watched a whole lot of Kansas games either, so this might be like the worst take ever. And we'll come back to it next week. Like if BYU gets absolutely blown out by like 40 or something, I'll take it on the chin. That's fine. I did a bad job, but I feel really good about it right now. So I'm going BYU +8.5 against Kansas. And then I'm doing an NFL bet as well. With Nick Chubb being out, I feel a whole lot better about the Titans' chances.
You're going to bet on your team?
I'm betting on both. I'm betting on my team. I'm going Titans +3.5 against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. I think that we woke up our offense last week. I think that the only thing I'm worried about is Andre Dillard getting absolutely destroyed by Myles Garrett. I don't think he's on that side. No, he is. He's probably going to be on that side. Andre Dillard's going to get absolutely blown up.
They kind of move him around.
Andre Dillard's going to get absolutely bodied because he can't do anything against the power rush, bull rush, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I don't really trust Deshaun Watson to take care of the football. Yes, Kareem Hunt's not bad, but has he been working out? What kind of shape is he in? How's he going to look first game back in the NFL without being in a training camp or anything this year? I think we have one of the best run defenses in the league still. No one's really popped off big runs against us. It's been mainly the pass game. So just minimize what Amari Cooper does if he's playing, because he was questionable this week. I don't even know if he played this week or not. I did not pay attention because I was too focused and zoned in on the Titans game itself. But
he did. Yeah, he had a pretty good game.
Okay, fair enough. But and I know that game was on Monday, but your boy has to work at night. So do not roast me in the comments.
Yeah.
So I'm going Titans +3.5. Regardless, even if we win or lose, I think it's going to be a close game again. I think that with Mike Vrabel, you're always in the game. We always have that one blowout loss, but I don't think it's this week. So I feel good about the Titans +3.5.
I like it.
So
Sticking with your feelings.
I am in my feelings. I'm always in my feelings. Anyway, so with that, we've almost made it through another podcast. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube, TikTok, Instagram pages while we're talking about it. Leave comments. We will. We're going to try and do a better job of being interactive with you because you know what? We love you. You're here. We're in our feels, so we love y'all. So,
For sure.
Speaking of in our feels, feelings of the week.
All right,
Zach.
I'll go first. I got a great one.
He's got a great one, ladies and gentlemen. If it tanks, then we all boo him.
I think this is going to be the year that we see a non-quarterback MVP.
You're kidding me. Why do you have that feeling?
I think that we have a couple good options for non-quarterback MVPs, at least through 2 weeks of the season. There's not really been any quarterback besides Tua that's kind of stuck his head up as being elite so far. And I really don't trust Tua that much. I think he's probably going to fall off at some point. And he's got 2 interceptions through 2 games. If you send that trend out throughout the entire season, that's 17 interceptions. That would have led the league last year. So I don't really see Tua as a viable MVP option. I think if you're looking at some non-quarterback MVPs, which I think as my feeling of the week, I think that definitely could happen. Micah Parsons is looking like the next. People are comparing him to Lawrence Taylor. They're saying that he is just absolutely wrecking the game on every single down, and he's having a fantastic start to the season. So is TJ Watt. Both of them are absolutely balling this season. The one I think that Micah Parsons has a better chance just because his team's going to be good. They're going to have a good record. I don't know if I can say the same about TJ Watt. And then Justin Jefferson. So far, if his yards per game, if he continues it up, he's going to be up there contesting to set the NFL record in yards. And I really hope he can do it before the last game of the season because I don't want anyone to put an asterisk on it to say he had an extra game to do it. But I think if he can do that and get the Triple Crown, most receptions, most touchdowns as well, that we could be looking at Justin Jefferson MVP. So I think there's a couple good non-quarterback options. So that's my feeling of the week.
All right. Well, my feeling of the week is more of in my feelings from Sunday because I missed out on a bet that would have won me some good money. And I had a profit boost on it. So for this week and this week only, my feeling of the week is screw the Green Bay Packers for giving up a 25-10 deficit or winning 25-10.
That game.
That's literally all I needed. They needed to not lose that game, and I win money, and they can't even do that. So for this week only, yeah, screw the Green Bay Packers. That's my feeling of the week. I don't care what happens to the Packers the rest of the season, but this week, screw them. I may take the other team, whoever they're playing against, just to say it, just to go with the theme.
Just to continue the trend for the week. Just continue the Green Bay Packers trend.
Yes, exactly. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Good evening.
To everyone. Have a good evening and good morning. Thank you for joining us once again on the Phillies Over Facts podcast. Peace out.
Tell somebody you love them.